So let's see, scent playlist. Okay, cool. All right. Let's make a community post about this. Bum, 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 bum. So let's see, we're live. Tune in. Can I see the chat? I can't see the chat yet, guys. Hold up. I can't see anybody in the chat yet. Give me a second, guys. Let me get into my own chat. Can I get a pop-out chat? There we go. Okay. All right, there we go. I'm in the chat, boys. I'm in the chat. Let me know where you're from, who's tuning in, what's popping, guys. What's up? This is the Scent Bubble, man. What up? I had to say hi to the people. I had to say what's up to the people, man. And I feel like we need to get a full screen in. So let me do a full screen rant. Okay, sick. Okay. So maybe we do add video capture. Let's go big cam. There we go. So let's see what we can do here. So we can do something like that. Let me look at how that looks on the camera. Okay, cool. And then we'll lock that. And then we'll throw Scent Bubble under it. Let's do bam. Bam. And then can we throw the bottle on there? We can. Okay, cool. So let's do like that. And then unlock that. And what about the cam? Can we stretch the cam? Yeah, we can. Cool. We'll go something like that. And when we switch screens, I'm looking in the chat, man. Ain't nobody in the chat. What up? I see 16 people in here. What up, people? Get in the chat, man. Let me know what's good. We're checking out fragrances. We are looking at fragrances online. We're reviewing fragrances. We're answering questions tonight. This is just a pop out, man. I know a lot of people are going to start strolling in here. So if y'all got any questions about fragrance, make sure you ask them now while you got my attention, man. The early bird gets the worm. Let's talk about some fragrances here. This is a fragrance I'll be doing a review about real soon here. This Ferragamo Bright Leather. I'm telling you right now, like, shout out to D4G, man. D4G. I was asking D4G about this fragrance earlier. I asked him if it was the truth because, you know, I see a lot of Ferragamo. There's about 2 Ferragamo fragrances that I've been trying to get my hands on for a minute now. One of them was Bright Leather. I think the other one's maybe Dark Leather. This Bright Leather is nice. This might be the only leather fragrance I've smelled so far that you can wear in warm weather. You know, most of the fragrances we talk about, ombre leather, Tuscan leather, any of the clones, dupes, and inspireds, a lot of leather influenced fragrances, cold weather, jacket, cowboy feel. Nah, this fragrance is a warm spring summer leather. This might be the only one I've smelled that I would be confident rocking this in hot weather, especially where I'm at. This is something. We need to see the note breakdown here. Fresh, spicy, leathery, orangey, citrusy. This is with white leather though, and I can understand it. Like if I was gonna like figure out. Thank you, mods, for removing the ding dongs. If I was to figure out, like, if I was to name like the style of leather, it basically is like if you were looking at a black leather wallet, this is like a brown leather wallet with like citrus spice, but the rosemary and basil come through excellent. So like this is not a young boy fragrance. For all you boy toys out there, this is not a 25 and under fragrance. This is a 30 and up fragrance. 30 and up fragrance. You want to smell like a man? You want to rock leather, but do it in a fresh way that doesn't just, you know, lean on cold weather? This is it. This is totally it. Mods, appreciate y'all, man. The mods always coming through, man. Got a lot of love for y'all. Appreciate y'all, man. We get thousands of people that roll in here every night, so you know I appreciate y'all for cleaning up the mud. Yeah, man, it took me by surprise. This is like a very easy grab, but what's unique about it is typically when you're in warm weather and you're trying to go for like, you know, fresh linen, fresh citrus, fresh earthy, fresh woody, and various combinations of everything in between. This is going to be something where you could still get your leather on, but do it in a hyper fresh, hyper masculine way. Again, this is a 30 and up fragrance. I think it leans any season, any reason. But this is a take on leather that I think is unique enough to have in your collection. Unless you're purchasing fragrances north of the $200 mark in the leather category, I don't think you really need to go beyond this, other than your like leather influenced fragrances like Ganymede, fragrances like ombre leather. I don't think you need Tuscan leather at all. There's too many clones that outperform it and can match its energy at least 95%. But your ombre leathers, your effing fabulous, those are sub $150 mark fragrances that you kind of have to have in your collection. Even a lot of your iris inspired leather fragrances, your Givenchy's, your Dior Homes, stuff like that. But yeah, Ferragamo Bright Leather. I want to look real quick. There was another one D4G recommended. Ferragamo. I want to say he said dark leather. So we have bright leather. Might have been spicy leather, but that doesn't sound like that's what he recommended. There's no way. I see the questions rolling in. Feel free to ask them, guys. We're going to roll through the chat. I'm going to get in and out of it, so don't worry about it. We're going to touch on every question you guys have. So this might be the spicy. Yeah, okay, so let's see what this is. Saffron, lemon, black pepper, leather. He said this was better than bright leather. I don't know, man. This, plus that bottle, man. That bottle is sick. Kind of looks like an elegant New York building. You know, it's embossed, or it extrudes out. Nice, like, metal on plate finish. It's kind of got a car feel to it. Almost like a cleaner, minimalistic metal version of like some Bentley. Another thing I picked up that we're going to be reviewing this week, guys, is going to be Malin and Goats. I saw this in Nordstrom Rack. We've been trying to do a little bit more sample packs to just kind of get into some companies that you don't really see too often, but you might be curious and scratching your head if you'd like it. When I look at these, this is a discovery set of 6 fragrances. One is called Bergamot, one is called Cannabis, one is called Dark Rum, one is Leather, one is Strawberry, and one is Vetiver. I don't really care for the strawberry one, but I'm highly interested in Dark Rum, Cannabis, Bergamot, Leather, and Vetiver. I was actually pissed off. In Nordstrom Rack, it was going for 26 bucks. Then I went over to TJ Maxx and found it marked down for 10 bucks. 10 bucks, you get 5 fragrances in a discovery pack to learn about a new fragrance, new to me, a new fragrance line that you might be interested in. Sometimes these little one note emphasis fragrances are the business. You know, a lot of them you might not like, but the ones you kind of center on that you really gravitate towards become really nice little signature offset fragrances that you can kind of offset the week with. Definitely feel free to ask all your questions, guys. I own over 200 fragrances. I'll put a picture of my collection probably later in the stream, but I own a lot of fragrances, many name brand designer niche, as well as the clone space is absolutely blowing up right now. So, you know, I got to keep some clones to give people alternatives if they can't afford fragrances north of the $100 price point. I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys might have. Again, this is to go live with the people. We're about to crack 1,000 subs. So I can't express enough thanks to you guys for just participating in the community stuff, in the videos. You know, we're gonna crack 1,000 subs in less than 60 days. You know, we cracked like 600-700 subs in 4 weeks. Now we're gonna approach the 8-week mark in a couple weeks here, and I have no doubts that we're gonna hit 1,000 subscribers. So I feel like going live is absolutely necessary to tap in with the people, because so many people have been supporting me. This channel was really a goof channel, to be honest. It was just kind of like a therapy for me. Had my second child, didn't really have a lot of time to be in my office in here, so I figured, you know what, I'm gonna start getting a lot more fragrances and reviewing them just for fun, as like a little couple minute a night thing. A lot of people started liking the way I was talking about fragrance and breaking stuff down, you know, calling me the professor, the scientist of fragrance. So, you know, I started doing more of it and people started gravitating towards it. So I really appreciate the feedback and response that you guys have given me. It's been overwhelming, and we're just going to keep it going for as long as we can. You know, it's a little passion project. I don't do this for no money. My money's good. So, going into some of the chats again, thank you guys for moderating the chat. You know, the internet's the internet, man. People don't got lives. They like to type stuff and see if they can draw attention. And then when you cut the lights off, you won't see them again. So I appreciate you guys for cleaning up the chat so we can get people who are actually interested in fragrance. We have, let's see, Army and Blink says hello. What up, Army and Blink? Skyviews asks, do you have Lattafa Cambra? Let's see. I hope you mean Camera, but let's see if Cambra is an actual fragrance. Cambra is not a fragrance, so I'm guessing you mean Camera. And yes, I'm gonna be honest with you, a lot of people think that this fragrance is an alternative to what, Angel Share? It looks similar to Angel Share. Somebody quote me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure Camera is supposed to be the air quote overpriced clone of Angel Share. Or is it Baccarat Rouge? I think it's Angel Share. Let me see. Camera clone of Angel Share. Yeah. So this is supposed to be a clone of Angel Share, but to be honest, guys, everybody in the fragrance community knows that this is not a clone of Angel Share. It's not even close. It might be like 70%, which is actually pretty bad in the clone space. It is a great fragrance, though. Great unisex fragrance, that warm, spicy, sweet, vanilla, cinnamon, the praline notes, kind of like this dark, borderline gourmand fragrance. It's kind of like entry-level gourmand. It's not a super edible fragrance, if that makes sense, but it is tasty. You know, cinnamon, vanilla, amber on woods. People really like that, but it is not anywhere near a valid clone of Angel Share. If you want, and this fragrance is very well priced, around the $25 to $35 price point. You get 100 ml. It's really nice. You guys can see the notes right here. Let me see if I can fix this for you. There you go. So yeah, you know, you got the praline, the dates, the tuberose, the cinnamon. Really ignore all of these notes. What you get is tonka bean, vanilla, praline, cinnamon, vanilla. That's really the nuts and bolts to this kind of sub holiday cinnamon spice vanilla type of fragrance. The note that they're really missing here that I feel makes Angel Share is the not the praline, the cognac note. If we take a look here at Angel Share, you're probably going to see a note of alcohol right here. Top note, cognac. This cognac is essential because without this cognac note, the fragrance leans hardcore feminine. The cognac note gives it this alcoholic bite that really balances out and unisexes the fragrance to where males kind of have a little bit of edginess to the sweetness. It's not overkill sweet. And obviously feminine fragrance due to the just overly sweetness, vanilla, praline, sandalwood, cinnamon, tonka bean. You know, it's just a sweet bomb. Even that candied almond comes through. But that cognac note, the way the cognac interacts with the woods really balances this fragrance out as a truly unisex fragrance. But nonetheless, for those of you guys who can't afford Angel Share, which can run upwards of, as you guys can tell here, if we check on Amazon, you know, $220, right? So I've seen it run, I mean, it depends on where you guys go. You know, if you go to Facebook groups and all that jazz, you can find it anywhere between, you know, 150. I've seen it north of even $400 or $500, depending on the size of the bottle and what you're going with. But nonetheless, you really don't need to buy Angel Share in today's climate. The best alternative to Angel Share for a very nice price is by Paris Corner, and it is Amir Fire Your Desire. I love this fragrance because as an alternative, they go with their own vibe, but they still capture the essence of the bottle. The juice, it smells exactly how the juice looks in person. It doesn't look kind of like, it doesn't have this more earthy terracotta look. It is more like juicy rum look. But Fire Your Desire for about $20, $30, fragrancebuy.ca, or just about anywhere you would find dupe fragrances. Even Amazon has this fragrance. You get 100 ml of, to me, what's about a 95% accurate clone of Angel Share. The cognac isn't as alcohol-y as it is in Angel Share. However, it's close enough. And if we look in the note breakdown here, they do include the cognac note, which Camera does not. And that's what makes it not even close. Whereas this one, you get the cognac and then the usual suspects, the praline, oak, vanilla, cinnamon, sandalwood, tonka bean. So this to me is the worst you could say about this fragrance, is that it might be a 90% accuracy, but I truly feel, and you know, we have this fragrance here on the shelf. So right here, as you can see, you know, I can't talk this fragrance up enough. Amir Fire Your Desire. I mean, they absolutely nailed it. I mean, only to connoisseurs would you notice a difference. If you look at all the major fragrance reviewers, I don't care if it's Gentsense, I don't care if it's Darien, I don't care if it's Chaos, you know, you look at all your major frag guys, they're going to tell you, TLTG, they're going to tell you Amir Fire Your Desire is at least 9 to 9.5 out of 10 accurate to Angel Share. You will smell Angel Share when you wear it. It's a great alternative bottle design that doesn't rip Angel Share at all, but still kind of has the same bottle shape. And it's unisex. On a woman, it's going to smell fire. On a man, it's going to smell fire. And yeah, it's just one of those clones that just kind of revolutionized the space, because now you would never buy authentic by Kilian Angel Share, in my opinion. As the years go by, less people are going to be buying Angel Share and more people are going to be buying Fire Your Desire. Trust me, the sales speak for themselves. Definitely pick that up. $25 to $35, 100 ml. It's a no-brainer clone of Angel Share, and it is it's as close to Angel Share as Club de Nuit Intense Man is to Creed Aventus. All right, I know that was long-winded, but hey, we're making a show out of it. I appreciate everybody that's tuned in. We've already touched 600 views so far, 30 people tuned in and out. This is what we like to do. We like to come in here, give you guys all those quick snapshots of you know, stuff you wouldn't get because you got to wait for an episode to come out and ask questions and wait for responses and things like that. Next question, Armani Attitude. Don't know what kind of question that is, so clarify if you can. WTH Bell, if you actually have a question for it. We try to ask real direct questions in here, so I don't like to random chat about anything. You know, this isn't really a talk show. This is a straight up Q&A. Rick Ward, sorry, I'm not a DJ. Roberto says, have you ever tried Armaf's Special Amber? I'm guessing you meant Oud. Let's check it out. Armaf Special Amber. Armaf Special Amber Oud. Okay, what's in this? Wait, where's the note breakdown? The heck? Why doesn't this have notes? Don't ask me why, guys, but this fragrance does not have notes. Can we get a breakdown somewhere? This bottle looks old as dirt. What's the notes? Top notes of apple, aquatic, bergamot, cinnamon, coriander, lime, saffron, strawberry. That is a lot of super pungent notes. Heart of jasmine, lily of the valley, and rose. Okay, so a lot of florals. So a super fresh take on citrus, apple, and aqua. What's in the base? Amber, cedar, incense, labdanum, leather, musk, oak moss, patchouli, sandalwood, vanilla, vetiver. That's a lot to try to make smell good. Let me get my phone out. If I can order a sample of this, I'll review it on stream. If you know of a sample of this, message it on the community page under this stream post. Put a link to it, and I'm willing to sample it, but it feels like it might be overkill with too many notes competing for one another. Maybe it's a smooth blend, but I'll have to see. It's a lot of competing notes there for my liking. But you can never judge a fragrance, man, because sometimes it has a lot of notes, but they're very well blended, so we can't judge here. Thoughts on Ferragamo Leather Intense? I'm going to be honest with you. Ferragamo Bright Leather is my first Ferragamo interaction. Ferragamo, I was really on the fence about because there's so many different variations to Ferragamo, and a lot of them are super generic. So I'm very picky. I kind of let the community drive the horse when it comes to trying Ferragamo. My boy D4G Fragrance highly suggested Bright Leather, so I went with it, and it is a hit. I got this for about 20 bucks at TJ Maxx. Is this a 30 or 50 ml? It's a 50. 25 bucks for a 50 ml Ferragamo Bright Leather. This is a take on leather that this might be the first leather fragrance I've come across that you can wear in the spring, summertime rather than a cold weather fragrance. So for that, this is worth its weight in gold. Musk Therapy thoughts. I've never come across Musk Therapy. Let's look it up. Keep asking your questions, guys. I'm about to roll through chat. Oh, Initio. I'm going to be honest with you. The only fragrances I've come across from Initio is going to be... I'm going to be honest, guys. When it comes to unisex fragrances on higher end name brand fragrances, I'm very leery because I don't enjoy many of the unisex fragrances because they oftentimes come off too sweet. And I feel like, you know, I'll be 36 in February. As an older male, sweetness for me has to be tamed by something. You cannot just give me a sweet fragrance. Angel Share even would be too sweet for me if they didn't have that cognac note. It's like the last straw before I would say no to something like an Angel Share. So this wouldn't be a fragrance I would normally try, but if you really co-sign Musk Therapy, I'll definitely get into it. Obviously, I've tried Side Effect. I've tried Atomic, not Atomic Rose, but the Rose fragrance. Let's see, Initio. Oud. I've had Oud for Greatness. Yeah, I've had Oud for Greatness. I've had Side Effect. I've had Paragon. And I've had Atomic Rose. Those are the only Initio fragrances I've come across so far. Make sure you guys definitely hit the like button. A lot of people have strolled through here. Over like 200-300 people have already come in and out of this stream. Guys, if you appreciate the content, all I'm asking for is a like to let the algorithm know that, hey, we get it popping during these lives, and they'll throw more people that are interested in fragrance into the chat. Ideally, I want you guys to be able to come in here and hang out with a bunch of cool people talking fragrance. I love to see conversations go on in the chat while I'm talking about fragrance. Y'all are getting in your information back and forth, teaching each other about fragrance. I'm just kicking game in here and sharing my experience with you guys. I love when we get it popping in the chat, and I appreciate the over 30 people who have interacted in the chat so far. But yeah, let me know, Red King, if Musk Therapy is the truth, or anybody, if you've come across Initio's Musk Therapy and you think this is a fire fragrance worth trying, we will definitely review it on stream. But I personally want to know what you guys have worn. I don't care about fragrances people are talking about. Have you worn the fragrance, and do you think it's worth reviewing? Let me know. I'm not a guy who just buys fragrances out of pure curiosity. I'm more than happy in buying 100 samples before I pull the trigger on anything, but I like to be directed by people. This is the thing, guys. If you've tried the fragrance, tell me if it's good or not, so I can have some confidence getting the samples, and vice versa. Like when you guys come to my stream and I talk about a fragrance, I wear the fragrance. I've worn all the reiterations and remixes of the fragrance. I know when I'm telling you to get the clone fragrance, I know that I've tried all of the other options. When I tell you to get the real thing, it's coming from a place of honesty. I do that because I've already walked in those shoes in that place of my journey. I'm sharing that with you guys. If we do that back and forth, we can build crazy collections and rarely ever have to blind buy. Now, the sample part of the process is always essential because we all have different tastes, but it's all about sharing information to make our lives more exciting in the realm of fragrance so that we can make better decisions quicker than having to scour YouTube. YouTube is a beautiful thing, but it's also a pain in my freaking butt because so many people are talking from a place of no experience, and it's not helpful, especially in fragrance. Fragrance is so subjective that the best thing you can offer people in the community is just an honest testimony about your actual experience with fragrance. I can't tell you how many times people go in the chat and talk about what somebody else said about a fragrance and they've never worn it, or they talk about a fragrance that they own but sits on their shelf and they have not worn it more than 2 times, and now they already have a professional opinion about it. Come on, guys, we gotta do better. Okay, enough of my soapbox. What would you recommend for the colder months that isn't too expensive and is a beast performer? Well, we talked about it earlier, LV Osa. This Amir's Paris Corner Fire Your Desire clone, 9 to 9.5 out of 10 clone of Angel Share isn't necessarily beast mode, but if 10 out of 10 was beast mode, this sits around a 7 out of 10 in performance, 8+ hours of performance, 8-hour minimum performance, great unisex cold weather fragrance. Let me grab some other ones. Another cold fragrance that I just came across. You guys know that I'm a big fan of Dior Homme Intense and Dior Homme Parfum. I'm a fan of powdery, creamy iris. I'm a fan of dusty, rough, edgy iris. And that's obviously a great cold weather fragrance. I try to find any excuse I can in Arizona to wear Dior Homme Intense and Dior Homme Parfum. But you guys know my go-to alternative for DHI is going to be not Dunsoir, but Gary's Den by FOMO, not Fragheads Asylum. FOMO Gary's Den is my favorite DHP clone. As far as DHI, I came across, there's a couple of good fragrances, but if you guys want to talk about a cheap, super sleeper, this is from the house of, I don't even know what house this is from. This is called Illusion Intense. And I got this for $12 at TJ Maxx. And I had to get it because when you see this bottle, you know what they're trying to clone, right? But you're sitting there in disbelief because there's not a lot of great, reliable Dior Homme Intense clones. When I tell you that I bought this thinking I was going to throw it away as soon as I sprayed it in the air when I left the store, I'm being real with you, right? Because I'm such a fan of DHI, you can't screw this up. Like if you even kind of smell fake irisy or whatever, I'm throwing you away. Guys, this fragrance is like, at the very least, a 90% accurate, me personally, for Dior Homme Intense specifically, not Dior Homme Parfum, this might even be 9.5 out of 10 close. And this is $13. I have Dior Homme Intense and Dior Homme Parfum in my collection. So there's no cap in my wrap when I do a side-by-side comparison to the actual thing. Dior Homme Intense is just slightly creamier and slightly powderier. This is 95% close. The performance, the projection, the sillage, the longevity, it's all there. The distinct iris note is absolutely the same. And for $12, you can get 100 ml of Dior Homme Intense clone. And you get it at TJ Maxx. Everything is about seasons when you go to places like Ross, Nordstrom Rack, TJ Maxx, Burlington. It's all about timing. There will be certain months where they just get a wave of a particular fragrance. I don't know what it is, but this month in particular is the wave of this Illusion Intense. If you can find a TJ Maxx, hit up all of them and you will find this. I saw one bottle of this and I thought I was some cool guy that once I smelled this, I was like, oh my gosh, if I ever see this again, I'm buying 10 bottles of this because this is insane. You know, because there's other clones such as like Camaro Homme Intense, I believe, is another great DHI. It might be DHP, but I think it is DHI. And there's Cayenne Classic is another Dior Homme go-to for people. But this is $13, signed, sealed, delivered. And it's amazing. It is scary, non-synthetic, high-performing beast of a fragrance that you can get for less than $13 at TJ Maxx right now. In fact, I went back last week and was shocked to see at least 4 or 5 bottles of this in every TJ Maxx I went to, and I have about 5 to 6 TJ Maxxes within a 40-minute distance from my house, and when I commute to work, I run through all of them. You know, I got about 4 or 5 Rosses, 4 or 5 TJ Maxxes, I got about 3 Burlingtons, and I'm always in and out of there. This one is a seasonal special that you want to definitely go pick up, because man, for Dior Homme Intense lovers, 100 ml, 13 bucks. You will almost never come across a fragrance under $15 that puts you above 85% closeness to a classic fragrance. That is very rare to come by. In the $25 to $50 category, there starts to be 20-30% of inspired frags that come close, but you have to seize the day. Oh, this is Privé, by the way. I just saw the logo was on the cap. Privé, Priv as in Victor E. Privé Illusion Intense. Look that up on Google. I'm sure there's bottles of it online, or go to your local TJ Maxx to scoop that up for 13 bucks. Shiaka Blue, what's your take on it? Okay, Addy. All right, so Addy wants to know, what do we think about Shiaka Blue? This is a kind of spice bomb. This is a kind of spice bomb nuance to Bleu de Chanel. A lot of people try to match Bleu de Chanel's freshness, right? As kind of this like go-to versatile spring, summer, really any season, any reason fragrance. And a lot of people have their renditions of Bleu de Chanel, most notably Iconic, right? You know, Club de Nuit Iconic, which does an absolutely great job and actually outperforms Bleu de Chanel. However, this is a cold weather take on Bleu de Chanel by adding a kind of spice bomb twist. So this smells like a combination. This smells like a 70% spice bomb with a 30 or maybe 40% brush of Bleu de Chanel vibes on top of it. So kind of that blue shower jelly feel on top of a spice bomb kind of feel. So it makes it unique. It makes it a remix, a nuance, a twist. This is absolutely a cold weather fragrance. And really, I think this is a preference. If you're from the Middle East, you know what I'm saying? You bought this out of Dubai, you bought this, you know, India, you're into spices. This is a smash hit. I think in the American space, this is going to be a preference fragrance. Not everybody's going to love a combination between a fresh spring, summer Bleu de Chanel and holiday spice. You almost can't make sense of it in your head. But when you put it on skin, it's a fresh take on that spicy, seductive bounce. And it's about $20 for 100 ml. The bottle's a little bit crazy, but that's what we deal with in the clone market. This is Cod Lodge's Shiaka Blue. Khadlaj. In fact, we can put it up on the screen here. I don't know why I'm holding the bottle up. It looks like this bottle except for it's blue. Right here. Cod Lodge Shiaka. And as you can see, it goes for about 20 to 35-ish bucks. Let's move on. We're going to move quickly here through the chat because I can only hang out for another 5 to 10 minutes or so. Dior Sauvage or Prada Carbon, both EDT. And Prada Carbon. I'm a bigger fan of Prada Luna Rosa Ocean, but out of those two, I'm going Prada Carbon, totally. EDT, what's your opinion on Versace Eros? You guys know my feelings on Versace Eros. And matter of fact, for those of you who have never been to my channel, definitely subscribe because we drop videos every single day, basically. We just dropped a hot take on Versace Eros right here, as you can see. Hot Takes is a new series where I go inside of a Sephora and I try all the latest fragrances that are out on display. It's short form content. So for those of you who see my reviews, my reviews typically range anywhere from 10 minutes to 30 minutes, depending on how much I love the fragrance. And we have everything from clones to niche to designer. But Hot Takes is like, I go in, I get a test strip, I spray the fragrance and give you a hot take. So this week we did Versace Eros Energy EDP EDP. We did Versace Eros. I should actually change this EDP. We actually did Versace Eros Parfum. And then we did Emporio's Armani Stronger With You. Little quick 5-minute takes on what to expect from the fragrance, the performance, and initial thoughts. And like in this one, I included my son in it. It's just always a good time. But Versace Eros, I don't like any other versions other than Parfum. Versace Eros Parfum is the only fragrance worth buying out of the line. The other fragrances, everybody owns EDT, EDP. The more unique, denser, versatile rendition that just has the best curb appeal all around, age, not age dependent, any season, any reason, to me, is Versace Eros Parfum. The other ones are too boring, or they lack something that's incomplete with the fragrance, and you can see my review here. Make sure to subscribe so you can catch hot takes. Let's see. Versace Eros is good, but it's not a fragrance to use often ever. I'm going to be honest, boy, I disagree, but I agree. It's kind of like one of those things, like Versace Eros is a fragrance everybody owns. Everybody wears Dior Sauvage. Everybody wears Acqua di Gio Armani. Everybody wears Dior Sauvage Elixir. You know what I'm saying? It's just a fragrance that is boring as a note profile because everybody who has 5 or 10 less bottles of fragrance has Versace Eros. A lot of them have Jean Paul Gaultier. It's just boring. But the best rendition and density of fragrance is going to be Versace Eros Parfum. But from a versatility standpoint, Versace Eros Parfum can literally be worn by any age group, any season, any reason. It's the perfect balance of sweetness and freshness. It's a non-threatening fragrance. It's slightly unique, but just not super unique because everybody knows about it. But you got to also look at it from this standpoint. Everybody, only 1/3 of the world even wears fragrance at all. And out of that 1/3, majority of that 1/3 has less than 3 fragrances on their shelf. So you have to take into context that even though Versace Eros is an extremely popular fragrance, more than 2/3 of the entire world has never smelled it. And within the 1/3 of people who wear fragrance, you know, wearing the Parfum is going to make you more distinct and signature compared to everybody who's copping the EDT and the EDP, which to me are less interesting anyway. But as far as a fragrance itself, it is a fresh, slightly sweet fragrance. It's actually extremely versatile. Any season, any reason, any age, any climate. It's just a safe wear in pretty much anything. You could dress it up, you could dress it down. It's a no-brain grab. Parfum specifically. EDT, EDP, I wouldn't recommend. Too generic, not enough there. Everybody has it. End of story. It's kind of the same reason why instead of Sauvage Elixir, I just tell people go with Lattafa's Assad, because even though Assad is only like a 80% closeness to Sauvage Elixir, it's something different. Most people haven't smelled Assad unless you're a fragrance enthusiast. So when you smell kind of like Assad or kind of like Sauvage Elixir, but with a twist, now you're different. Now you're signature. I actually think between the performance and the remixedness of the fragrance, there's a lot of reasons why you should only have Assad over Sauvage Elixir, but Sauvage Elixir is an incredible fragrance. We can't diss Sauvage Elixir. There's a reason why it does as well as it does. Extremely likable. Women love it. I personally hate Dior Sauvage Elixir. I personally hate Lattafa's Assad. It's just not my wheelhouse of DNA. I highly respect it, but it's not me. But when I put Assad on, my wife is all over me. So, fragrance is a conversation starter. It's a mood setter. It can be an extension of your own expression and personality. It can complement a space or a circumstance, right? There's all kinds of different reasons why we wear fragrance. And I, as a person,
been married and been with my wife for over 15 years. Best believe if my wife likes Latifah's Assad, I am going to bust out Latifah's Assad whether I like it or not because she likes it. You know what I'm saying? It's just the way it goes, guys. Do you like women? Okay. So you're going to have to put on some Assad from here and there. Unless you just like smelling yourself and being in your room all day like, oh man, I have such good taste. Guys, listen, I'm not a guy who always rocks fragrance for compliments, but I'm trying to improve the environment that I'm going into with my fragrance. Not necessarily for the sake of look at me, but I take into account where I am. If it's hot, if it's cold, do I need to be loud? Is it a softer space? I'm not going to throw something loud on that's just going to run around the room and be annoying. Like, again, it's an extension of your personality. Some people like beast mode all day, but I'm just telling you, for me, I take into account the setting, the weather, the circumstance, my own personality. All that goes into why I pick up what I pick up and why I have 200 fragrances, because my mood changes all the time. And I am not the Lord of fragrance. I have a very strong, passionate opinion about fragrance, but at the end of the day, I'm a nobody. Okay? A certain small group of people will connect with my nose and how I describe fragrance and respect my kind of unbiased biasness towards fragrance, but they respect how I try to make you be able to taste and smell the fragrance before you buy it so that it helps you in your journey. I don't wear Versace Eros, even the Parfum, even though I would prefer that over the 3 if you had a gun to my head. It doesn't matter. It's still a great fragrance, and I can acknowledge that. Let's move on. What's going on, Joel? What up, Addy? What up, Kicks? What up, Boy? What up, Suede? What up, LV? What up, Roberto? What up, Senior America? What up, Calvin? What up, Rithik? What up? I already said Joel, Wild W, Animal. What up, guys? Appreciate you for the love, Joel. As always, love when you're in here, brother. Spice Bomb Night Vision is great for winter. That's sweet lavender fragrance. There's others, but I can't type the name. Guerlain. It depends which Guerlain you mean. I don't know if you mean L'Homme Ideal. But yeah, I mean, Spice Bomb Night Vision is a good fragrance. You know what I'm saying? It's there's a lot of fragrances in that kind of spice bomby category. You have Tom Ford Noir, you have Noir, you have Noir Extreme, you have Spice Bomb, you have Spice Bomb Extreme, Spice Bomb Infrared, you have Night Vision. You know, you have a lot of stuff to pick from in that spicy, sweet, vanillic, cinnamon category to choose from, including Assad and many others. Appreciate you, call out, homie. And all year round fragrance, 10 out of 10 is Parfum de Marly Parsival. My girlfriend is obsessed and talked about it a year after I ran out of it. Parsival's dope. There's a lot of amazing clones of Parsival, but if you have Parsival, hey, rock out, bro. There's a reason why it's so popular. I think out of all of the Parfums de Marly, Parsival is slept on the most. You know, it's kind of one of those fragrances that only fragrance enthusiasts and people who have more than 10 fragrances in their collection know about, but it's starting to get a lot more popularity due to the clone space, and that's a good thing, right? Man, I can't get enough of this bright leather. I really love the fact that we finally have a spring summer versatile wearable leather fragrance. So fire. What else do we have? Have you ever tried Mystic Sugar? Well, let's check. I'm going to guess no, because this looks sweet as absolute crap. Pineapple, almond blossom, orange, tonka bean, cacao, cardamom, ginger, jasmine, vanilla, amber, sandalwood. Let's see what people are saying about this. Is this a sweet bomb? Big red gum scent. Okay, one spray killer. Someone said it smells heavenly. Masculine leaning gourmand. Smells like spicy ambery vanilla cookies. See, I'm not a big gourmand sweet guy. Like I said, Angel Share is probably the furthest I would go, and the only reason I would go into that is because it has cognac. It has the alcohol to give you some masculine edge. We actually tried some Clive Christian Oriental a couple weeks ago, and that just blew my mind. Disgusting. I'm realizing that I don't like to smell like baked goods and dessert. It's just not me. But the bottle looks amazing, and yeah, at that alone, that's got to be a cool bottle to have in your collection. Fake Dior, ladies in the chat, what kinds of notes float your boat? You know, women, man. Women love, I mean, I told you about that Dior elixir. Like, women are so simple, man. Personality goes a lot into a woman's psychology for what they like. I find that with a woman, gauging what they like is highly dependent mostly on age. Age really matters. Are they dating somebody in college? Are they dating somebody who's graduated but still a young man? Are you dating somebody 30 and up who has a house and has a car and has their life together? Are they a grown man? Is he seasoned? Women's preferences change, and a lot of times something they wouldn't like on a certain guy, you got to fit the part of your fragrance, guys. Sometimes you can change the mind of a woman just based off how you come across with a fragrance. Like, for instance, my wife doesn't prefer sweet fragrances on a man. She doesn't want a man to smell sweet. But my wife's 35 years old. I find a lot of younger women love to smell sweet fragrances. There's a lot of older women that like sweet fragrances as well. But I find that a lot of older women don't prefer their man to smell gourmand and tasty and a little bit of sweetness, but not overkill. They like the woods. They like smelling a man. Woods, you know, freshness, a lot of heavy masculine, you know, the leather, the citruses, the woods, the earthiness. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like younger women like Creed Aventus, 30 and below. A lot of older women like Hasselblad, you know what I'm saying? Because it just has other dimension to it that isn't just classy pineapple lemon, but it takes it a step further and grabs a severe amount of earthiness to kind of give dimension to a fragrance that wouldn't really fit well on a younger male, right? But again, even that take on fragrance is subjective. There's plenty of young women who like older smelling fragrances. There's women who like unisex fragrances. I know a lot of women that love masculine fragrances. They only like wearing, quote, air quote here, masculine fragrances only. They don't like smelling sweet and fruity like most women do. You know what I'm saying? They don't like cinnamon and stuff like that. I know women who like woods, vetiver, citrus, you know what I'm saying? Linen. So it just, everyone's experience is different. We can kind of just only talk about our experience and just kind of leave it out in the air. What else do we got? Oud for Glory. Oud for Glory is a great fragrance. 9 out of 10 closeness to Initio's OG fragrance. I can't wait to buy Kajal Lamar Noir. Let's see what you got here. We're going to stick around for about 10 more minutes, guys, and then we're going to call it a night. So you're saying there's... Oh, it comes out soon. Oh, this looks interesting. See, this is a sweet bomb. Hopefully the blend here is really nice, but this is like overkill for my eyes. But hopefully, you know, sometimes they really string it together nicely. Tropical fruits, violet, green apple, caramel, caramel, geranium, balsamic notes, vanilla, rose, leather, oud, amber, cashmere, gaiac wood, sandalwood. Joel, let me know, brother. Let me know how that fragrance wears on you, brother. Cool bottle for sure. What's that gonna run? Okay, it's fairly inexpensive. Okay. What up, Emmanuel? Repping from Ghana. Bad Boy Extreme. Please talk about Bad Boy Extreme. It's okay. It's okay, brother. I don't have much to say about Bad Boy Extreme. It's okay. If you have it, awesome, brother. There's a lot of other fragrances that are even cheaper than Bad Boy Extreme, but Bad Boy Extreme, you know, people talk about it. It's good. It's okay. I think it's fairly old though. Cacao, patchouli, tonka bean, incense, vetiver, clary sage, olibanum, plum, ginger, bergamot, labdanum. Oh, the extreme version was launched in 2022. What was the older one? What, was there a fragrance before Bad Boy Extreme, like just a Bad Boy regular? A lot of people like this fragrance. I would say it's subjective though. You have to put a test strip on it to see if it's kind of your vibe. But a lot of people love this fragrance. It's kind of one of those things that you want to make sure you sample. You know what I'm saying? It goes a certain direction that's very distinct to preference. It's kind of got like a 50-50 split, to be honest. I'm very leery when I go to note profiles that mix a lot of notes that I know are powerful. Like tonka bean is powerful. Incense is powerful. Vetiver is powerful. Bergamot, it's there. Plum, you know what I'm saying? Cacao, patchouli. There's a lot of contrasting elements there, and it comes down to the blend. So a lot of times you might only like this if you prefer certain notes. Tomorrow, scent of the day, Electimus Oster. Joel's coming in with all the, I don't want to say vintage, but all the unique fragrances. Joel, you love you some unisex fragrances, some sweet bombs. Star anise, that's a cool note. Lemon, geranium, clove, patchouli, ambergris, and cedar. I'd be highly interested in smelling a sample of that. Do they sell it? They do have a sample. I'm going to snap a flick of this. Thanks, Joel. I don't think I'll like it, but just due to the uniqueness of the note profile, it's worth a smell in my eyes. So I appreciate you putting me onto that. Where are we at on YSL Myself? I'm going to be honest with you, TJ. YSL Myself. I think it's okay. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm gonna just put this out there. Sometimes I try to think about how I'm gonna come off with certain things, but I'm gonna just say how I feel. YSL Y is better. YSL L'Homme Original is better than YSL Y. Don't talk to me about performance. I'm just talking raw DNA. Straight up original. Let's pull this up. Straight up original L'Homme. To me personally, I don't want to hear anything in the comments, guys. This is me, the scent bubble. YSL L'Homme, to me, is the best YSL fragrance, period. Okay, the performance, blah, 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 blah. This is not a performance fragrance. This is a intimate, get your girl up in your neck. She doesn't want to leave. She has to come back to you to smell that comfort, that masculinity, that dimension, that edginess, that sweetness. The basil note in here is absolutely phenomenal. Yo, this is the type of uniqueness and balance of sweetness and other that I think YSL oftentimes lacks, and YSL fragrances typically have like 1 or 2 star notes, such as, you know, YSL Y. But to me, it goes in the order of probably La Nuit de l'Homme, YSL Y, YSL L'Homme. For me, I don't know where Myself fits on the scale yet. I need to spend more time wearing it. But I'm not super impressed with Myself, but typically YSL is known for, you know, slightly above average fragrances. But for me, L'Homme just has a special place in my heart as just When you really love a fragrance, you don't care how bad it is in performance. You do, but you're willing to pay the money for it. I just have an affection for this DNA that a lot of fragrances don't give me. But I feel about this fragrance how I feel about a lot of Givenchy, Gentleman, Privé, Dior Homme Intense, Ganymede. It just holds a special place in my heart that it's my DNA. I don't pressure push this on people. I just tell you how I feel and let you rock with it how you rock with it, because I know I'm the minority here. Many people will tell you their favorite fragrance is YSL Y or La Nuit de l'Homme. No one's going to tell you L'Homme's their favorite fragrance, but most people haven't smelled L'Homme unless you're an old man like me. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, don't be a sissy sprayer, bro. A lot of people look at me, I'll say spray 10 times. What? Okay, well, you don't have a lot of weak performing fragrances then. You just don't get it. Sometimes fragrances require, shoot. There's some fragrances that literally require 15 sprays. You put 15 sprays, you plug your nose, you go outside, you let the air waft you for like 10 seconds, and then you begin your day. And you will still have to reapply. If you love the DNA, screw performance. You just get the fragrance and you travel spray it up. Bring your decants with you. It ain't that bad, guys. All right. Thank you, Umut. That's very subjective. Everything's subjective. That's not new information. Everything that we're talking about today is subjective. And you should be mature enough in watching content on YouTube to know that most hobby type of things are completely subjective. But we look at what the community as a whole talks about stuff and we take it into account. I am not the Lord of Fragrance. The majority of the fragrance community is not the Lord of Fragrance. Everything's about information. You take in information, you run it through your lens, you have your own personal experience with fragrance, and you form an opinion. I hate this notion that because things are subjective, you simply can't declare something, share your opinion as if it's fact. That is soft. That is immature. That is unrealistic to the world. If you believe in something about a fragrance, share it. You don't need to give a disclaimer. If people are soft out there and they need to correct you and they need to re-emphasize what you didn't say and you got to we'd be sitting here giving disclosures before anything we talked about. Most of you guys should be mature enough to know that anything I say here today is 100% subjective. But you judge what I say about fragrance based off of my experience and my perspective, and you size them up with each other and you discern for yourself based off your knowledge and your personal experience how much of it would be accurate or what information is going to help you on your journey. We don't speak about fragrance to be right or wrong. We speak about fragrance because we can. You should be free to speak about what you want to speak about. Hasavat is Grandpa's Aventus. That's false, TJ. That's false. I don't like the notion that if a fragrance is for a 30-year-old and up, it's an old man fragrance. Men in their 30s to even 50s, I would say more like 30s to 40s, 30 to 45, have a completely different nose than people 45 and up. It's just a fact. Like, if I took my top 10 fragrance fragrances, it would be different than a 25-year-old's, it would be different than an 18-year-old's, and it would be different than a 40-year-old man's. Like, there's a lot of like kind of, it's not even worth going into for an episode like this. Just know that a lot of fragrances that young males are into, you could never wear to a beautiful 30-year-old and up woman and get away with. Because fragrance isn't just about what you like, but it's also about what people are reminded of when you wear the fragrance. So for instance, that's why I talk a lot about young men loving overly sweet fragrances, or old men. When I say old men, just comparatively to me, men 45 and up wearing super sweet fragrances. There's certain opinions about it that I have, like that, you know, when I say stuff that's also subjective, but based off a lot of experience, that women who are in their 30s to 40s don't want to smell somebody who's a boy toy sweet. Women 30 to 50 don't want to smell Jean-Paul Gaultier. Is that for everybody? No. But when we look at surveys, when we look at street surveys and all that stuff, they need masculine notes. Masculine notes is a subjective phrase, but it's based on a lot of helpful information. Take with it what you will. I think that a lot of older males that are over 40 that like gourmand, super sweet fragrances are single. Is that true for everybody? No. Is it true for a lot of men? Take it or leave it, man. I pump out my chest when I talk about fragrance, not because I'm the Lord of fragrance, but because I love fragrance. If you love, but Hasavat, back to the Hasavat point. Hasavat is not an old man fragrance. Hasavat is an older man fragrance. Creed Aventus is worn by men 30 and below. And even men 30 and below who rock Aventus, people in the affordability spectrum, young people who can afford Aventus, once you wear it and you walk around other people who can afford Aventus, you realize you're all wearing Aventus. And the older you get, you want to smell more distinct, more signature. So a lot of people start going back to Aventus cologne. Just to smell different, just to not smell overbearing lemon, overbearing birch. They want to smell something slightly more sophisticated. The reason people move to Hasavat isn't because of a preference of Hasavat over Aventus. It's what's going on in the fragrance. It doesn't just offer you citrus and birch. It offers you earthiness, dimension, sophistication. The type of sophistication that somebody 30 and down probably wouldn't even think about. Does that make it old? Yes. Old is not bad. There's a reason a 20-year-old man ain't bagging no 35-year-old woman. Long term, at least. And it has a lot more to do with more than fragrance. But I love having these chats with you guys. What's your opinion on Hermes Marvelous Blue? I haven't tried it. With Hermes, I've tried H24, I've tried Terre de Hermes, I've tried Eau Givray. Is there anything else I've tried with Hermes? I don't think so. I wish I was more helpful. I apologize, Nimb. Shout out to Nim, and shout out to coconut water, Vita de Coco. Shout out to all my people juicing and drinking coconut water. Yeah, see, Tino, here's the thing, bro. 27 is an age where you've been around the block, you've sprayed fragrances, fragrance is not new to you, you've smelled a lot of things, and you're starting to want to have distinctness in fragrances. I mean, it's no different than, like, I remember when I was 20, there were certain fragrances that older men liked that I didn't like young men fragrances because I was just trying to be super different. It wasn't that I was trying to smell older. It was just I was trying to go for just weirdo different fragrances. I was probably the only 16-year-old rocking Marc Jacobs by Marc Jacobs. You know, what was I doing? I should have been wearing Gio Armani like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So it's completely subjective. But again, you know, the finer things in life, different people appreciate different nuances. People have different preferences, and that's all good, bro. It's all good. Yeah, bro. I mean, look at this, right? When we look at Dior Homme, you know, as much as I talk about sweet fragrances and how I mostly hate sweet fragrances, Dior Homme is a purple lipstick, cosmetic, sweet, powdery fragrance, right? My love for Dior Homme Intense is high. Living in Arizona, I have to find reasons to wear this because it's a cold weather fragrance. It's a indoor cold weather fragrance. Romance, date night. You feel what I'm saying? My love for this fragrance almost contradicts my own views because I'll go and say that I don't love a lot of sweet fragrances, and one of my favorite fragrances of all time is sweet as absolute crap and feminine leaning because it smells like lipstick. Again, there's exceptions to the rule. Certain notes just make it through. Does that mean that when I wear Dior Homme, I smell like an 18-year-old? Not necessarily, no, because Dior Homme, despite it being sweet, it has sophistication, it has nuance. But there's women that hate Dior Homme on a man. But that ain't my woman. Not every woman is for you. Remember that. Most women aren't for you. You got to be a confident man in today's world, guys. Trust me, man. A lot of these dudes out here today meet women through the internet. They can't even hold a conversation with a woman, let alone get rejected on fragrance. Be Easy's going to go in timeout. For me, no fragrances has any age. For other people, it might be. I mean, Joel, here's the thing, brother. I know what you mean, and you're not wrong, but you're also not right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're right and wrong. It's like, it's circumstantially true, right? In, like, basically, age in fragrance is just a borrowed concept that we use to understand fragrance deeper. We don't hold to its truths as if they're black and white. It is a tool of thinking that helps us understand fragrance in a better light and to see, compare and contrast and see differences and stuff like that to gauge our preferences for our own fragrance wearing experience. People who talk about age with fragrance just to talk about age with no real direction or context, I think it's a disservice to the space. When I talk about a fragrance on my channel and I say this is 30 and below, I'm assuming, because I've addressed it so many different times, that people aren't literally hearing me say this fragrance is for people 30 and below. They're taking into context a lot of the concepts that I've talked about with some of the trends of what younger people preferably wear, and automatically assume that there are many exceptions to the rules and personality and different facets that they have to take in. So we don't just talk about age. We talk about things like climate. We talk about seasons. Like, technically, I could make the same argument about age as I can with seasons. I can say, well, no fragrance is spring only or summer only or winter only or fall only. But you would say, well, no, there's certain fragrances that complement the weather. Well, I would say there's certain fragrances that complement the age as well as the person, as well as the occupation they have, as well as the personality they have. Again, they're just tools that we use to understand fragrance better for our own personal journey. Now, if people are using those concepts and tools with a tight grip to make it feel like a Bible that we look at for fragrance, then you're an idiot. It's just what it is. But I know that as I say that, based off what I've seen from Joel, Joel knows this. I'm just saying it out loud for the rest of you. My go-to is Dior Fahrenheit and Bleu de Chanel, or Fan Defendi. Dior Fahrenheit is a super sleeper, and I think because of the brash, aggressive edginess to it, a lot of younger people don't rock with it. My 60-year-old dad has been wearing Dior Fahrenheit for like 35 years. Ever since I've known him, he's worn Dior Fahrenheit. But a lot of young people appreciate Fahrenheit as well. It just depends on Dior Fahrenheit is really a personality fragrance. Does it fit your personality with the attributes that fit you as a person? It's not a universally accepted fragrance at certain age points and stuff like that. It is a classic fragrance. It is a timeless fragrance for the niche of people that it fits personality-wise. And it can really be semi-formal, formal. I don't really think Dior Fahrenheit can be a casual fragrance. It's just too edgy. But someone will prove me wrong. Thoughts on 19 Degrees by Toomey? Never smelled it, brother. Should I have it? Thoughts on Armani Code Absolute? Armani Code is dope. Armani Code is like, in my personal opinion, it is Bleu de Chanel Parfum's distant cousin. They're related, but they do different things. Just this hyper play on freshness and greenery and woods, and I don't know. Personally, I try to stick to fragrance notes that are comfortable to me during that season. See, in Tino, you're completely valid, brother. Completely valid. In my own fragrance journey, being 36 in February, my nose has changed from when I was 16 to when I was 20 to when I was 25 to when I was 30 to when I was 35, and it will likely change when I hit 40. That's the beauty of fragrance, guys. Seasons impact fragrance. Experiences impact fragrance. The opposite sex impacts fragrance. Setting impacts fragrance. Your mood impacts fragrance. Your education on fragrance impacts fragrance. Your friends impact your fragrance, your nose. Like, it's amazing. None of it's wrong. Retro Soul says, I prefer colder weather fragrances to warmer weather fragrances. I prefer them both. I try to find excuses to wear quote unquote cold weather fragrances in warm weather, such as Dior Homme. In Arizona, if I can find any excuse to be indoors with a little bit of aeration and wind, I will wear Dior Homme Parfum and Dior Homme Intense and Dior Homme Sport anytime I can. Givenchy, Reserve Privé, Givenchy Gentleman, Givenchy Society. I will find any reason in Arizona to wear that fragrance. I don't care. I know I said so many times we're going to be on for 5 or 10 more minutes, but I love you guys. I'm going to be honest. I love the haters. I love the supporters. I love fragrance, right? However, I'm getting more into more Joe Malone fragrance because it's natural and more environmental to skin. Their whole lineup is refreshing and unisex. How do you feel about unisex fragrances? Unisex fragrances for me, brother, are very 50-50. I find that when it comes to unisex fragrances, my whole way I explain fragrance goes out the window. I almost have a completely different category in my mind for fragrance because the rules that I go about picking my masculine fragrances are not the same rules as I apply to straight masculine fragrances. For some reason, I like Angel Share. For some reason, I like MFK's Grand Soir. For some reason, I like Maison Francis Kurkdjian's Oud Satin Mood. Based off my DNA and my makeup and the way I explain fragrance, I should hate those fragrances. I like Givenchy Privé. I should hate that fragrance. I like Dior Homme Intense. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just, I don't know. I can't fight my love. By the Fireplace is great in my opinion, but it might not be for everyone. By the Fireplace is not for me, but Here's the thing, guys. Some fragrances that I don't like By the Fireplace is a great example of this. I went into Sephora 2 days ago, and I have a hot takes episode coming out on By the Fireplace. And I find that the later in life I smell By the Fireplace, the more I kind of smell the kind of nuance within it and appreciate it. And some fragrances I appreciate in the air, but not on my skin. As I've gotten older, I'm realizing that even though the correct way to apply fragrance is on your pulse points and all that, you know, your neck, your elbows and all that, like there's a lot of fragrances I can't wear directly on my skin. So it's unfortunate because I got to do a lot of clothes sprays, because if I wear fragrance too regularly on my skin, I start to notice stuff happen with me. Like sometimes it might be a headache. Sometimes it might be dehydration. Sometimes it might be allergic reaction where it feels like I get inflammation in my neck and stuff like that. It's really weird. It never used to be like that when I was younger, but I distinctly know that certain fragrance chemicals on my skin is like, I can't wear fragrance direct on skin many times anymore. I'm having to wear more clothes, which changes the projection, changes the performance. So it's tough for me personally, and it sucks because I review fragrance. So I need to be able to wear fragrance on skin to explain to people the performance and if the DNA changes on skin versus on the test strip. But, you know, that's my journey. I'm having to, you know, accept the fact that I got to wear a lot of stuff on clothes now as opposed to skin and pulse points to be able to breathe. It's crazy. Let's go through a couple more questions. And I really love you guys for hanging out. Guys, we've already had over 2,000. We're approaching 2,500 views tonight on the stream. I really love you guys for that. We've had constantly a consistent 30 to 50 people in and out of here. Really appreciate y'all contributing to the conversation of fragrance. We're going to start going live a lot more. Would you rather choose Millesime Imperial or BDK Gris Charnel? Ooh. Yo, I don't think I can choose, Skulls. That's a beautiful question. Millesime Imperial, salty watermelon, or kind of a gray, irisy, floral unisex? Ugh. I think the more commercial one, and I don't mean that to be political, I just mean the one I think I would find myself wearing more because it is the water fragrance. You know, Millesime Imperial is a beach fragrance, a pool party fragrance, a yacht club fragrance, a fine 5-star hotel fragrance. You know what I'm saying? An outdoor LA, Venice Beach kind of fragrance. I think I would find myself wearing Millesime Imperial more than Gris Charnel, even though Gris Charnel has a special place in my heart due to the note of fig. Gris Charnel is kind of more of your artsy fragrance. It's extremely unique and it's hard to find circumstances. And sometimes Gris Charnel can borderline smell like a very cool, hip, fun 60-year-old woman that might be an art teacher. You know what I'm saying? Like Gris Charnel is an art teacher fragrance. I don't know why. To me, even though I love it, I love Gris Charnel. But it's a super unique fragrance. It's like, it's different, bro. Whereas I think Millesime Imperial, even though it's still a preference fragrance, it has way more universal application in your everyday existence than Gris Charnel. Millesime Imperial is like water, all things water. Gris Charnel is all things art and uniqueness. Have you ever smelled Myriad by Louis Vuitton? I smelled it last week and almost threw up in the store. I have not smelled it, and thank you for that report because I will not be smelling it. Have you tried Luxor by Xerjoff? It's literally the worst thing I've ever smelled. No, and thank you for telling me, Max, because I will not be smelling it. Anytime somebody tells me something is terrible, I'm not smelling it. I can't wear strong fragrance during the summer. It raises my sinus, so only winter most times. Hey, that's real talk, bro. We getting old, Tino. We getting old, bro. You approaching 30, man. You almost in the club. You know how it is, man. You get older, there's just certain stuff you can't do anymore. It's longer lasting, projects more than the OG. It's unisex though. You gotta love unisex fragrances. Yeah, and I mean the thing is when you get on unisex, bro, unisex can go any direction. Unisex fresh, unisex gourmand, unisex floral. Like there's just so unisex fruit, unisex citrus. So many different angles to hit unisex with. Some fragrances, just due to your personality, might feel more masculine leaning and some feel more feminine leaning. Just like Angel Share, right? Like, to me, if Angel Share didn't have a cognac note, it would be a feminine fragrance. That alcoholic bite edge opens the door for men to wear. If men just smelt like cinnamon and vanilla and praline, I know older men who sometimes like stuff like that, but most men don't want to smell like cinnamon, vanilla, and praline. It's just the use case, guys. It can only be date night, and you don't have a lot of masculinity with a fragrance like that for a date night frag. So it's kind of like, that's a fragrance you could wear by yourself, cigar lounge, hookah lounge. I don't want to speak that subjectively about Angel Share because I think it is a hyper versatile fragrance, even being gourmand leaning. But I think the cognac note is the only thing that does that. But my point was more so on just how there's many different categories of unisex. The Novice Knows, what up? Everybody follow Novice Knows. He hooked me up with like 20 fragrances to showcase on the stream, and many of the recent reviews that you guys are getting in long form content are because he was looking out. He also has collaborated with me on my game show, The Wheel of Fragrance, where we spin a wheel for different categories. Novice Knows has been on there, going through the gauntlet, and he survived it twice. So, cool brother, man. Cool brother. Definitely make sure y'all follow him. Let's answer a couple of last minute questions, man, and then I gotta peel off because it's getting late. Your boy's got to shower, man. I gotta wash up. I bought The Kingdom by Lattafa, and it smells closer to Jean Paul Gaultier Elixir, Lamal Elixir than Tribal Gold and Rayhan Elixir. Lamal Elixir. I'm going to have to smell Kingdom, Fidge. I appreciate you for that recommendation. I know Lamal. I know great Lamal clones. I know great Ultra Male clones. I don't know many Lamal Elixir clones. So if you're saying Lattafa's Kingdom is a good Lamal Elixir clone, I want to smell it. Even though I'm not a big fan of JPG, I want the channel and the viewers to know of a good Elixir alternative. I just got into Prada Luna Rosa and Luna Rosa Extreme. Those are good fragrances. I can't hate on that. Thoughts on Musk Therapy? Red King. Initio's Musk Therapy I have not smelled, but it looks like a sweet bomb. Let me know if I should feature it on the channel. I'm not into a lot of sweet fragrances, bro. And as far as Initio, the only thing I've actually tried is Oud for Greatness, Side Effect, Paragon. I think there's one other one. I don't think I've tried Kajal. Give me a fragrance from them that I should try, Untamed. I try to learn more on the chemical makeup of a fragrance when I test them. Chanel fragrances and Tom Ford fragrances made me more into doing it. I try to learn more on the chemical makeup. So I'm guessing what you mean by that, Tino, is like you would go to this, for instance, and look at the notes and say, oh, top of ginger and bergamot, oh, spices. And then you might say something like, oh, vetiver, what does vetiver smell like? And go in and see what different notes of vetiver have. I'm assuming that's what you mean. You like to investigate the notes more and see different nuances and how they pair well and stuff like that. I'm a big fan of that, and I'll show you an example. You know, I've showed this on stream many times, but a lot of times I like to smell different facets of stuff. And the most common example that I like to come up with is a note like vetiver. You know, when we see vetiver, we see Haitian vetiver, Tahitian vetiver, different kinds of vetiver, right? But then even within the vetiver category, vetiver can translate depending on how it's extracted. If it's more from the root or the grass base, it can smell clean, it can smell soapy, it can smell earthy, it can smell inky, it can smell woodsy, it can smell like grass. So many different ways based on the extraction vetiver can have its nuance. So, you know, I always show people this. You know, I have stuff like this. Right? For about $20, you can get over 50 different essential oils that single out certain notes. And so if you want to get more intimate with a certain note and smell the nuances to appreciate it more in a fragrance, smelling the individual essential oils is a great way to get in the game. This pack was like $20 and it comes with frankincense, grapefruit, spearmint, oregano, geranium, ylang-ylang, juniper berries, eucalyptus, lemon, tea tree, clary sage, jasmine, chamomile, vetiver, rosemary, lemongrass, coriander, tangerine, cedar, citron, turmeric, bergamot, sandalwood, cypress, basil, lemon, neroli, patchouli, heliotrope, lavender, sweet orange, rose. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So like, nice little essential oil kit. It comes with 35 essential oils. I think I might have paid $15 for this on Amazon. This brand is Mayjam. Matter of fact, let's go shopping, guys. Let's go shopping. So let's see. Let's go to Amazon. And let's do what is it? Mayjam essential oils. So look at these different kits, right? Oh shoot. So yeah, look, $15 right here. You can just get a bunch of essential oils and try them out and start to get more familiar with them. You can smell a bunch of different variations of vetiver. There's tons of different stuff that you can get as far as essential oils to just kind of familiarize. Look, if you wanted to get more intimate with bergamot or smell pure bergamot oil, look at this one. This is a 35-piece set. This is the one I have. 35 pieces for $22. You could spend less. You can spend $15. It really just depends on what notes you like. But I find that this 35-piece set right here covers a great deal of the most common note profiles between florals, fruits, you know, citruses, woods that you're going to come across. And it's a great way to get in the game of isolating notes to smell. Kajal Om is my favorite from the brand so far. Just about everyone that tried it loves it in the community. Thank you for sharing that with me. I'm going to search it to see what the notes are. What the heck? Kajal Om. So probably the basic one. Orange, grapefruit, I don't know what that is. Gaiac wood, cardamom, cashmere, orange blossom, tonka bean, vanilla, sandalwood. Smells pretty safe, you know. Citruses, floral freshness, sweetness on the base. Probably don't get that agarwood. It's probably just more musky, patchouli, sandalwood, vanilla. Yeah, I can't imagine what this smells like. It's very familiar. So it would be interesting to see what notes stick out in this. I imagine the vanilla, the orange, the sandalwood, cardamom kind of stick out, but yeah. Kajal. Thank you, Joel. I appreciate that. I took a snapshot. Yeah. What do you think Baccarat Rouge 540? I mean, it's kind of one of those things where if you've never smelled Baccarat Rouge and you smell real non-clone Baccarat Rouge for the first time, it's kind of like you get a dose of the finer things in life. Baccarat Rouge is not a fragrance that I think, I don't want to say, screw it, I'm going to say it. I don't think men should wear Baccarat Rouge. But I'm kind of a hypocrite, and I acknowledge that, because I would wear Angel Share. Total hypocritical, right? It's a sweet fragrance. The DNA of Baccarat Rouge just feels a little bit more overkill, feminine leaning. But it's just my personality, you know what I'm saying? Now, let me just get this straight. Even though I would wear an Angel Share clone, right? I'm not wearing Angel Share a lot. If I go to like a ballroom or a fancy date or it's cold outside, you know what I'm saying? Like, I bust Angel Share out as a once in a lifetime type of fragrance. No, I'm not wearing Angel Share more than 3 times in the year because I like masculine leaning fragrances. I like woods. I like citruses. I like ouds. I like vetiver. I like, you know what I'm saying? I like mint. I like just different stuff. I like florals. I'm not a sweet fragrance guy. I have some sweet fragrances, but when I have a super sweet fragrance, I bust it out like a special occasion for sweet fragrances. I'm not trying to be sweet all day long. Even my love for Dior Homme, I bust this out a little bit more than rarely. It's very situational. I mean, I will definitely love smelling some Baccarat Rouge 540 on a woman. I just don't like it as a unisex fragrance, personally. And nowadays, there's like 10 amazing Baccarat Rouge 540 clones. So now a lot of men are buying Baccarat Rouge. Men are not buying actual Baccarat Rouge. If clones never came out, men would not be wearing, even though it says unisex, women would be wearing Baccarat Rouge 540. Men are not going to spend hundreds of dollars to smell like Baccarat Rouge 540. The clone game screwed it all up because now people are like, oh, I can get a several $100 sweet fragrance for $10, $20, $30. Oh, wow. A lot of men buy the Baccarat Rouge clones just to say they have Baccarat Rouge, but they ain't wearing Baccarat Rouge all the time. They messed up the game with that, bro. Same thing with Creed of Venice. Not necessarily the same conversation about unisexness, but like, a lot of y'all wouldn't have Creed of Venice, man, if it weren't for the freaking clone game. The clone game messed it up. Now everybody's walking around thinking they know a lot about Creed of Venice, and the reality is they never owned a bottle of Creed of Venice in their life. And they think they have because they got freaking Club de Nuit Intense Man sitting on their shelf. Stop it. They got a bunch of opinions about Creed of Ventus, but have only smelled Creed of Ventus on a test strip in Neiman Marcus. Get out of here with that, bro. You are not qualified to talk about Creed of Venice or a Venice Cologne or a Venice Absolute because you had a test strip in Neiman Marcus. And then you just happened to have Al Harmain L'Aventure, Off Non-Supremacy, Not Only Intense, and Club de Nuit Intense Man EDT, EDP, in freaking limited edition. You are not qualified, young man. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I gotta give you the real. I don't speak on stuff, even though I'm highly subjective. I don't speak on what I don't wear. I'm not putting a fragrance on and wearing it for one day and then trying to educate people on the fragrance. I have 200 fragrances. They stay in rotation like old movie rentals from Blockbuster or Hollywood Video, if y'all are old enough to remember some Blockbuster and some Hollywood Video. My fragrances stay in rotation. let me tell you guys something. Let me stop the music for a second. I did a review about Lattafa's Assad and how trash it was. I wore it one day again to revisit the fragrance to see if I still felt the way I felt the few times that I wore it. The bottle macerated. I wore it a year later, and I could kind of start to see what people appreciate about it. My wife said, "Oh my gosh, what fragrance is that?" She loved Assad. Do I still love Assad? Absolutely not. But I respect it, and my view changed, my nose changed, and the fragrance macerated. So now I look back and say, I made a video of how bad I thought Assad was. But now, to do my due diligence, I'm going to go into freaking make another video on Assad and put a little bit more respect on his name and give you guys an update on what my personal experience has been with that fragrance as of updated late. Things can change all the time, but I'm always going to report to you guys facts. Even if I don't like a fragrance, but I took the time to buy the fragrance, I'm going to find reasons to continue to wear that fragrance to fully understand why I don't prefer it. Some days you don't prefer fragrances and things change and somehow you love a fragrance. Freaking, there's so many examples of this, and we're going to end on this. Let me find you a couple fragrances that this happened to me with. So far, we got 4. Let's see if I can get a couple more to end the night. Now, let me give you all a disclaimer. Actually, let me see if I can get some name brand for you as well. Enjoy some music for half a second. This will be a great way to end the stream. All right, let's get into this. Okay, so let's talk about it. Okay, so these are a bunch of fragrances that to this day I don't really wear a lot, but my views have changed. Some of them I actually circumstantially rock, but my thoughts changed about them over time. First, I'm going to show you a fragrance that initially I thought it was bland, and to this day I think it's bland, but it has incredible amounts of use case in the workplace. I am not the biggest Mont Blanc fan at all. In fact, I think 70% of all Mont Blanc is either trash or it's a carbon copy of something already out and it's weaker performance. There's a couple of Mont Blanc fragrances that I think are criminally underrated. One of them being Mont Blanc Presence, which is absolutely incredible. That's not in fitting to this context. But this is Mont Blanc Starwalker, okay? Mont Blanc Starwalker is for the most part this dry bamboo, citrus, cedar type of fragrance. It's very dry. It has kind of this, I mean, let's just look at the note profile. It's super linear. Oh shoot, I'm dropping fragrance all over myself. Starwalker. Look at this note profile. This is the most boring note profile ever, right? Fragrance is extremely old. Bamboo, bergamot, orange, white musk, sandalwood, cedar, ginger, fir resin, nutmeg, and amber, right? Super simple. In a nutshell, this is bamboo, heavy amount of bamboo, bergamot, cedar, sandalwood, musk, ginger, a little bit of resin. It warms up with the amber when you put it on skin. So basic. But in the workplace, if you have a suit and tie, if you have a collared shirt, if you're running errands and you're a little bit dressed up, you know, you got your Nike Tech on, or you got some shorts and a collared shirt, there is something so manly and approachable about this fragrance when you're just doing like an everyday thing with a little bit of like pristine manliness. It's just dry. It's to the point. It's got the tiniest bit of nuance. It's above clean. It's well polished, man. It's simple. I thought this fragrance was absolutely trash, but it's grown on me. The more I've worn it in the workplace, not necessarily when I'm going out and seeing clients, but just when I'm around the office as an office fragrance, I've put a ton of respect on Star Walker. I think it's out of the Mont Blanc line, outside of Mont Blanc presence. My thoughts have changed about it. Again, we're not talking about fragrances that I'm bragging about. These fragrances are at the bottom of my list in my collection, but they're fragrances that over time, when I go and wear them again, I start to see use case for them and realize their value. Another fragrance that I absolutely hate, Risasi Hawass. Okay? Bubblegummy, aqua, Invictus-y. I always summarize this fragrance by saying this is basically Nautica Voyage with a little bit more bubblegum and sweetness. It even looks like Nautica Voyage in the juice. I don't like this fragrance. This to me smells like a slightly better... This to me smells like a high school 16-year-old's go-to fragrance for everything. He's wearing it out of the shower. He's wearing it at the gym. He's wearing it at football practice. He's wearing it after PE. He's wearing it at lunch. He's wearing it on date night. He only owns this fragrance, and this fragrance serves him well. Because it's just a very versatile fragrance. It has no real dimension to it. It's just a simple wear. It's slightly sweet, slightly aquatic. I don't like this fragrance at all. It's insanely generic. But over time, I spray it, let it macerate. And I can't hate on the utility of a fragrance like this. To be honest, my thoughts with this haven't really changed, other than I put a little bit more respect on its name for how, with the younger crowd, 25 and under, this has an insane amount of utility. Risasi Hawass is almost the Nautica Voyage of this generation for the 20 and under category. It is a $20, $30 fragrance that a teenager or young 20s guy can literally wear for anything. This is the reason why Jeremy Fragrance says Gio Armani might perhaps be one of the most versatile fragrances of all time. He says the same thing about Nautica Voyage. Might be one of the most versatile, easy wear, blind grab fragrances of all time for its price range. Risasi Hawass is today's Nautica Voyage for young people, and it has an insane amount of utility. It also is an easy way to freshen up when it's not that serious. I wouldn't touch this fragrance with a 10-foot pole, but I respect it more over time, and occasionally I wear it to remind myself why I don't like it. We've already talked about the story of Lattafa's Assad. I hate this fragrance. My wife loves this fragrance, so I wear this fragrance. I also think that this fragrance is better than Sauvage Elixir. It's more interesting. It's less fresh, but more vanillic, cinnamony, on woods vibe. It's got more allure, more seduction, less freshness, but it's still more interesting to me and going to have a little bit more signature than Sauvage Elixir because everybody is trying to wear Elixir along with, Creed Aventus knockoffs. Another one, Très Nuit, your Creed Green Irish Tweed clone. Everybody in Fragcom talks about this fragrance, and it is extremely fresh. Lemony green, right? It's slightly synthetic lemon, not lemons, but slightly synthetic, almost lemon rind, and this super fresh aromatic greenery. Might not be the closest thing to Green Irish Tweed. I think it might be 85% close, maybe 90 on a good day, but it is a wonderful clone of Green Irish Tweed. When I first smelled this fragrance, I respect it. It's a super easy to grab. Who doesn't want to smell like lemons and fresh greenery out in the forest on woods? Everyone. But I didn't see the wow factor. It didn't have the nuance to it that Creed has. And so it just became kind of this just blind buy, easy grab shower fragrance that didn't really have a lot of utility outdoors. But the more I come back to it, the more I appreciate the utility of the green citrus out of the shower fragrance, the casual errand running fragrance, the gym fragrance, and I put a little respect on its name, even though I think there are more interesting fragrances in the same category, such as Mahir Legacy Silver, cloning Parfum de Marly Sedley, your Bulgari Tiger clones, your Louis Vuitton Imagination clones, your Vibrant Vetiver Delights, your Lattafa Socrates, your Acqua di Gio Profumo. There's just more interesting DNAs. Your Elysiums, your Fraghead Asylums, your Club de Nuit Iconics. Just a little more signature in those fragrances as a fresh fragrance than something so basic. But if you want to smell like Green Irish Tweed, $20, blind buy, any season, any reason, any age, extremely versatile as a fresh fragrance, and is more interesting than something like, and more masculine than something like Invictus Aqua, aka Rasasi Hawass, etc. Another fragrance I smelled early on that completely changed my mind. Maison Francis Kurkdjian's Grand Soir. When I first smelled this, I said, oh my gosh, this is the pillow of Corella de Vil drenched in powdery vanilla sweetness. The juice smells just like how it looks. Super powdery, creamy vanilla and amber. I hated this fragrance when I first smelled it. This is feminine, I would say. But then when you put it on and you see how it interacts with the ladies, women are seduced by this fragrance for some reason. You know, in the same way that Sauvage Elixir has pull on women, Grand Soir has insane amounts of pull because in the vanillic amber category, it just smells like the most expensive rendition of powdery vanilla and amber. And it is one of the kings of romance. The more I actually put it on my skin, I began to appreciate that. And then my thoughts changed. So then eventually I had to pick up Eternal Oud just to get in my bag when I want some Grand Soir feel or just keep my travel spray. What's another one? What should we end with? Another one in the expensive category is Maison Francis Kurkdjian's Amyris. This is a unisex fragrance extrait to parfum. I'll pull it up here on the charts that when I first smelled this, it smelled like sugary candy. In fact, it still smells like sugary candy to this day. Let's see. Maison Francis Kurkdjian. Can we get Amyris in here? Amyris Fragrantica. Amyris was a fragrance where at first, now I have the extrait to parfum, right? So this is the extrait version of what you see here on the screen. But when I first smelled this, where's the extrait? I actually have to show you the extrait because they are quite different. Right here. So when I first smelled this, I thought, you know, it's too sweet, blah, 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 blah. But then I started to get close to it and smell the little dusty iris on it, the saffron, the type of cinnamon that was used. The sweetness is kind of like fizzy and has like a soda feel to it. So for a unisex fragrance, it feels like fresh, but sweet, but fizzy, but just super high class and expensive. And it became a signature fragrance for certain playful date night scenarios that really changed the mood. It's a mood changing fragrance. It's not a fragrance where I put it on for me and I'm wearing it all day for me. Yeah, so there's a couple of examples of fragrances that changed on my nose. Another one is Dolce & Gabbana's K. A lot of people say that that's too sweet, but if you really love the note of fig and you like kind of a modern fougere shaving cream feel with fig and kind of Palo Santo, it becomes more arousing to smell, for lack of better words. There's just a lot of, noses change. Anyway, I wanted one fragrance from Mercedes-Benz, but it's hard to find. Hey, listen, Tino, the only fragrance you need from Mercedes-Benz is Mercedes-Benz Intense, which you can get for $30, 200 ml of that bottle. At the very least, for $20, you can get 100 ml of Mercedes-Benz Intense. Make sure you get Intense. That is what Creed Aventus should have been to me personally. That is one of the cheapest fragrances that smells rich, sophisticated, CEO, boss talk, but young money. Young, new money CEO is what that fragrance smells like. I do think it's ageless, but it feels like a young 20 to 30-year-old CEO. It has a sort of sporty, any season, any reason vibe, but can also dress up and still feel rich and upscale in suit and tie for some reason. It's just, again, it has elements that Creed lacks because it's more of a well-blended fragrance, whereas Creed leans too much on like lemon, pineapple, birch. This tones all that down and subdues it so that the woods and the other elements can shine in the blend. No, I mean, we can look this up, man. I mean, buying Mercedes-Benz Intense is actually really easy, I believe. Like if you look right here, Mercedes-Benz Intense for Man, $35 right here on Fragrance Buy. You can get it even cheaper than this in any Ross. The other slept on Mercedes-Benz fragrance for date night is obviously Mercedes-Benz Club Black for men. Very good. There's a lot of Mercedes-Benz fragrances, but I'm going to ask this question here for the chat before we sign off. What is the better car company brand in terms of the entirety of the fragrance line? Mercedes-Benz or Bentley? I say this again. Mercedes-Benz or Bentley makes the best fragrances overall. And if you say a certain car company, tell me the fragrance that tips the scale for you. Because I feel like Mercedes-Benz and Bentley are so neck and neck, it's not even funny. They both are responsible for making some of the best bangers out there. Again, this is Mercedes-Benz versus Bentley, nothing else. Yeah, Mercedes-Benz, honestly, if you can't find Mercedes-Benz Intense, Mercedes-Benz Regular smells just like Intense. Intense is just intense. It's truly a one-to-one copy, just ramped up even harder, so the performance is better. But if you just got Mercedes-Benz Regular, in fact, I was just decanting this the other day to some subscribers. They also have these party packs that you can get as well. I was decanting this for some subscribers as well. Here's your Mercedes-Benz Intense and Mercedes-Benz Regular. You can get 200 ml bottles of this for less than $35. That is an insane value. Mercedes-Benz Intense might be the most versatile, affordable CEO fragrance under $30 out there. And the fact that you can get 200 ml and that fragrance will literally be timeless and last you your entire life. But again, Mercedes-Benz Intense is more intense, but they both smell virtually the same. This is just more eau de toilette. This is way denser. But if you got either fragrance, you would be insanely happy you did. You can get it at Ross, TJ Maxx, Burlington, FragranceBuy.ca, FragranceNet, Amazon, all for roughly around the same price, south of $35. You will not look back. Club Black is definitely an incredible fragrance as well, but it's less versatile because this is a date night vanillic spicy fragrance. So it's circumstantial. You know, we go outside and boss up more than we go outside and date. So that's a date night specific fragrance. It's along the lines of kind of Giorgio, the Armani Stronger With You type of vibes, YSL Tuxedo type of vibes. That's what this is in the realm of. But yeah, Club Black is another fragrance that's criminally underrated. You know, like this website has it for 50, but I've seen it as low as 30. And actually a lot of people, because they buy it and they like the fragrance, but they find that they don't get chicks, so they don't go out on dates very much. They don't have enough dates to use the bottle. A lot of people sell Mercedes-Benz Black on Facebook Marketplace and Facebook groups for less than $20. So there's a little sneak peek on that. What else? Yeah, Creed isn't Creed any. I disagree with that a little bit. Creed will always be Creed, but to nerdy people who love fragrance like us, Creed is not Creed. It's the same thing with Tom Ford, man. Like you completely, there's certain fragrances with Tom Ford that you're just like, man, this is what Tom Ford's known for: the uniqueness, the sophistication, the class, the upscaleness. And then there's other fragrances where you're just like, wow, they just needed to have something in the board meeting last year. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, I think the final say for me, Tino, is Bentley. Bentley right now I might be able to go as far as to say that 90% of the entire Bentley line is worth owning. They're all less than $30, $35 fragrances. The bottle presentations on them all look like you drive a Bentley. You know what I'm saying? They're all 100 ml, super affordable, super masculine, and super unique. The formulations are all incredible. Like I said, about 90% of the Bentley line can't miss. And just to show you guys what I'm talking about, and they have a lot of world-class bangers. Bentley Intense for Men is amazing. Bentley Absolute for Men is amazing. Bentley Momentum Intense is amazing. Bentley Black Edition is what Creed Aventus should have been. Bentley Azure is awesome. You see these prices, guys, all under $30 so far. Bentley Infinity Rush, I actually have it. Right here. I haven't even smelled that yet. I have a bunch of testers. Bentley Infinity Rush is decent as well. Oh, this is actually a clone of something. What is this a clone of? Not ombre leather. I got to get back to that. Bentley Infinite Rush is a clone of something. I can smell it. It almost has like a bit of Encre Noir sport vibe to it, but a little more woodsy. Oh, they're close. Interesting. Anyways, guys, any last minute questions to ask me? Again, thank you guys for tuning in. We've had over 4,000 people, 4,000 viewership in the course of tonight streaming. I always come in here to get it popping in the chat, and you guys have done that. You guys really showed out tonight. I appreciate your questions and interactions and feedback. Again, if you don't follow this channel, we do fragrance reviews every single day. We go live every single week, multiple times. We do hot takes. We do long form content. We do community content. We do decant giveaways all the freaking time. We have the reels popping. Definitely make sure that y'all get in on the conversation of fragrance, and I appreciate you guys. You'll definitely find a lot of value being on this channel. If you appreciated the conversations tonight, make sure y'all like the channel just to let the algorithm know that we get it popping in here in the chat. And you know what I'm saying? I just really appreciate you guys. It's words can't express how dope it is to have little niche communities that nobody knows about. Any last minute questions before we head off tonight, guys? Yeah, I'm going to be honest, Joel. I don't really think it's even a I'm sure I see he asked the questions there a little bit, but listen, man, young or old, Mercedes-Benz Black is a killer date night fragrance. You will not, as long as you date women, you will have use case for that fragrance. Extremely affordable, super seductive, high quality. It's a W fragrance. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Seriously, guys. I can't say enough how much I appreciate y'all for, oh shoot, I was trying to highlight his comment. Anyways, yeah, a lot of Bentley fragrances are absolutely stunning. Mercedes-Benz has a lot of stunning fragrances as well. I just think Bentley goes into their bag a little bit heavier, guys. Again, really appreciate you guys for tuning in. It looks like the questions are slowing up. Like the video, but most importantly, if you found value in the content today, I'm going to do a quick scroll through so you guys can see my channel. When I say I post every day, I really do. We have hot takes that are less than 5 minutes, but mostly I do long form content between 10 minutes and 25-minute deep analysis breakdowns of some of your favorite fragrances, from super expensive down to cheap. We do Tom Ford, we do niche, we have Mancera, we do like niche clones, you know, Mas Milano, Bentley. We have a game show called Wheel of Fragrance that we collaborate with other content creators in fragrance. And guys, there's an infinite amount of varying fragrances. I show the bottle in the videos, so it becomes really easy for you to click because you know what the episode is about, and we get it in, man. They call me the professor/scientist of fragrance, and we cover it all. There's an infinite wealth of videos on fragrances that I actually wear and put to use. We battle test these fragrances to tell you if they are worth picking up. We go live, we do community chat. Everything is also sorted by playlist. If you want to just watch the hot takes or rewatch the lives, like for instance, if you want to rewatch tonight's live, reviews, quick fragrance tips, my game shows, specific fragrance guides. You know, I show people how to go shopping with fragrance, how to get the best deals. This is where you want to be if you value your fragrance journey and you want some insight on where to go with it and things that you're not considering, spoken by somebody who's actually wearing the fragrances that they're talking about. And I can go deep in my bag with fragrances, so you'll always have a new fragrance you haven't heard of or that you've been thinking of that I talk about. Again, I want to just reiterate a special thanks to everybody who tuned in. Right now, we still have a solid amount of people in here, so I just want to thank you guys for tuning in. We will be continuing to go live, so the more people interact in the community chat and let me know that they appreciate these lives, I will continue to put this form of content out. This is really nice, kind of on the whim, you know, interacting with you guys type of content that is more intimate than the long form content. It's just a special way that I get to interact with the community and get to actually meet the people who support the content that I do, because it's more fun that way. So many guys, I really appreciate you jumping in here. It's never a dull moment on a live. Appreciate y'all. This is the Scent Bubble. I am the Scent Bubble, your host for fragrance, talking about my journey through fragrance and quick tips, guides, etc. Y'all have a blessed week. Until next time.